I haven't for 24 years of my life. I'm thinking everyone else is way too emotional.
Bro.
You need to get over it because I'm over it. Like, dude, just get over it.
Now think about our difference, bro. That's why our relationship has been, like when we would wrestle, we'd be wrestling for like hours on end. And within the 3 hours of us wrestling as 12-year-olds,
we would be not friends like 12 times. And I'm like, Mitchell, I'm not your friend now? Like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? How did that resort to that? Whereas, like, there are some things in here with respect to chaos and disruption and things not going as planned where I'm not bothered by that.
but that's because of the low neuroticism.
Yeah, and we want to jump to that. We can jump to that.
So what have we gotten so far? Let's review.
We have neuroticism and extroversion left.
Okay, so let's jump to the neuroticism. Yeah, I think that'd be good. Because this is your personality trait. This is funny. It's actually kind of both of ours.
Yeah, this is yours.
Well, I'm saying
This is literally not mine.
Yeah. This is the one I use when describing you the most because of how implicating it is, right? So do you want to just tell the people what you scored on neuroticism?
I scored in the 0th percentile.
Let me just see what that even looks like.
Yeah, it's literally all the way on this side of the bar.
Wow.
And so, like I said earlier,
My
like explaining the percentiles and what they mean. So this one says you are lower in neuroticism than 99 out of 100 people. However, between 99 and 100, there could be a lot of deviations between that. So let's just say we increased 100 to 1,000.
There may be like 2 or 3
And so
people.
there's like 99.5. Then you would be you would be higher in that trait than 5 out of 1,000.
Right.
So on this scale of 99 out of 100, there's room for like deviations, small deviations, and those small deviations make a difference between 99 and 100.
Right.
If you increase it to 1,000, for example, between the 990th and the 1,000th, those 10 people are the top 1%. However, out of the top 1%, you could be at the top 1% of that.
Right.
And so if you're the number 1 versus the number 10, you are extremely low neurotic.
Right.
However, even the number 10 one is extremely low compared to the other 990.
Right.
So that's like an extreme of an extreme, which I think I have the potential to fall in, which is crazy. But that it doesn't like give it more insight. But yeah.
What's crazy, I think, is actually coming to terms with the severity of something that honestly makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like with my openness.
I was just never able to articulate it.
No, but
yeah.
similar with the openness. It's the exact same thing. With my high openness, the high creativity and stuff, once I read it, it's like, oh my goodness, that makes sense. Kind of like you pointed out, that was how you even that's how we introduced the openness, was through you articulating like, Mitchell, because remember I forgot how I got lost in you fucking impersonating my voice. I was like, because you could be saying this about you, low-key. Me reading about my creativity substantiated and made me more reassured in the attributes that extend their arm from that creativity. And so for you, it's like, damn, maybe my ability, now I understand why I'm able to get over emotional turmoil so easily where other people may be dwelling in it longer. Damn.
And it's not that, and I previously used to think that is inexcusable, and it's like, why aren't you just getting over this thing? Like, why not? Why are you different than me? And it's like, no, you're different. Like, I'm speaking as someone else.
Right.
You, Justin, are different than me, and
right.
You need to have a better understanding.
You're
it's like,
an extreme outlier.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm
okay,
normal. Right. Not me
that's
normal,
me,
but
that's
right. Right, you're hilarious.
But yeah, man, and it was just like eye-opening. It's like, nah, I need to have a better understanding of how my behavior and lack of neuroticism affects my interactions, and just to have a little more empathy for people that are a little higher on the neuroticism, even if someone that is at the 20th percentile,
right?
Like, that's a low neurotic person. That person is not very depressed. That person doesn't have that much anxiety.
But they're a lot more neurotic than someone like you.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's like the extreme of the extreme is crazy when you get to these like upper and lower bounds. Right. Like you with the openness, it's like you're not only open, you are very open to
Right.
experience. So yeah, it's like the counterbalance of that with neuroticism for me.
And it's amazing because you being so low in neuroticism, I'm 78th percentile.
So that moderately high.
Right. So I'm with the withdrawal is 86. That's why it's so high, right?
Oh yeah. So let's just neuroticism says is a measure of general sensitivity to negative emotions such as pain, sadness, irritability, defensive anger, fear, anxiety, and I like to always say anticipatory angst because that's the one I really associate with it.
Right. They don't say that in here, do they?
They don't. No.
Nice. That's our term. Nice.
Yeah. Your term, low key. But yeah, and then so neuroticism separated into withdrawal and volatility.
Yeah, the sensitivity to negative emotion is what I was trying to articulate earlier. It's that sensitivity. I think I said the word amplitude.
Yeah.
Like how amplified it is.
I said sensitivity because I
literally
knew
are
that's
genius.
what you
Yeah.
yeah. I
Genius
thought
shit.
you knew that and you were just trying to find a better way to describe it.
No, if I know the actual term, I'll say the actual term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, whenever I first came to the definition of neuroticism and it was sensitivity to negative emotion, that didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So I had to like dive in. I was like, oh no, it's really like, how sensitive are you to having anxiety?
Right.
How sensitive are you to being irritable? How sensitive are you to reacting to someone that does something to you? It's like, no, it makes a lot of sense when you actually go and think about what that means. But for me, I was like, okay, what does that mean?
What does that mean? Right.
Like I hear people using the word neurotic all the time, like, oh, this guy's neurotic. Or like, I was being neurotic when I was doing this. And I was like, okay, why are you using this term? Just speak normally. But yeah, okay, we can dive in a little bit. I'll just read from the general thing, and then I'll go into the smaller ones. People with exceptionally low levels of neuroticism virtually never focus on the negative elements, anxieties, and uncertainties of the past, present, and future. It's extremely rare for them to face periods of time where they are unhappy, anxious, and irritable, unless facing a serious, sustained, complex problem. Even under the latter conditions, they cope remarkably well, very well, or very rarely worry, and recover extraordinarily quickly. They always keep their head in a storm, and they never make mountains out of molehills. And so that ties into when we were talking about some interactions that I've had with other people, whether that be an argument, any type of conflict, where in the moment, if you and I are having an argument or we're having some level of dissonance and we go through it, we progress through it, we're both calm, or maybe things get a little heated, but ultimately we come to a resolution. And I'm like, okay, are we good? You're like, yeah, we're good. And I'm like, damn, okay, we're good. In my head, we're literally, once I get your verbal affirmation,
we're good.
We're fucking good.
We're on a new slate.
Yeah, we're good. I'm like, all right, dude, let's, you want to go eat or something? Or like, what? Like, how was your day yesterday?
But
or like,
for
what
me or the other person who's
they're
neurotic,
like, what do you mean? We literally just had a fight.
there's bleeding emotions from the neuroticism that lingers, that you don't taste or understand that lingering sensation because of how low your neuroticism is.
I couldn't resonate with it at all.
Until you understood and were able to have those experiences.
Yeah.
Because understanding it is the first. I'm low in neuroticism. So much that I'm in extreme 0th percentile, right? But in knowing that, okay, let me now be more mindful of that when approaching certain situations in my relationships. And for an example, if you're in, whether it's a sibling, whether it's a significant other, are we good moving on from this dissonance? If you guys are in a dissonance, yes. Okay, since, like you said, I've got your verbal confirmation, we're good. You literally are on a whole new plate while the other person literally has, especially to the degree of wherever they fall on that neurotic spectrum, they're going to have some lingering residual neuroticism from that experience.
Normal. And the thing that...
It's normal.
The thing that I struggle with is that comes off as I don't give a fuck, that I don't care.
No, right.
To the normal person that's like, dude, you clearly don't care about this because I'm feeling something and you just want to talk about something else. Or it's like, I'm feeling something and now you're just good. I can't just pretend that everything's fine. I'm like, no, man, I'm not pretending I'm good.
Right, you're literally good.
And I'm not good because I didn't care. I'm good because I did care and we resolved it. And that's that.
Right.
And I think that my lack of neuroticism sometimes impedes the like true resolution, especially if I don't go afterwards and caveat like, hey, I know I'm not like reacting the way that someone normally would, and don't take my cool, calm, collected nature and vibe right now to mean that I don't care, because I truly do. Just right now, I can't naturally. I'm not going to just express my emotions that way, because quite frankly, they're just not there like how they are for you.
Mm-hmm.
And can you just understand that and be patient with me, and I'll be patient with you. And that's like how I have to use that when I get into a conflict with somebody.
But you have to use that because you're an extreme example.
That's what I'm saying. And it's my responsibility
and
to do that.
And unless you understood and were able to identify those extremes, you wouldn't realize it's your responsibility.
I haven't for 24 years of my life. I'm thinking everyone else is way too emotional.
Bro.
You need to get over it, because I'm over it. Like, dude, just get over it.
Now think about our difference, bro. That's why our relationship has been, like, when we would wrestle, we'd be wrestling for like hours on end. And within the 3 hours of us wrestling as 12-year-olds,
we would be not friends like 12 times. And I'm like, Mitchell, I'm not your friend now? Like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? Are you just, how did that resort to that?
because in my mind, we're literally not friends no more, bro.
I'm just like, what the fuck?
And for you, you're like, you just lost, bro. Like, take that L.
Yeah.
And then opposite, if I dog you, if I beat you, you're literally on some like, yeah, I'm pissed and I don't like that we did that. Let's run it back. As opposed to lingering and dwelling in the neurotic negative feelings of your feeling of loss. While me, if I'm losing, I feel that loss on such an extreme degree, that I literally don't feel like you're my friend anymore, right?
Yeah, you're like, if you were my friend, you clearly wouldn't try to break my arm. I'm like, no, are you not privy to the rules of this of what we're doing? Like, what do you mean? The sole objective is to make you give up. I'm going to do that any way I can.
And to be low neurotic in that circumstance benefits you.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay.
When we wrestled the other day, again, like defaults, right? On some default stuff, if I got you in a headlock and I'm legit tugging on your
You're
neck.
cranking it, yeah.
Cranking it. And that's why when my neck was hurting, I'm like, does this motherfucker's neck hurt? Because I was trying to rip your neck off. And when you didn't tap, my agreeableness, my neuroticism kicked in. I was like, oh, bro, are you okay?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, good. Thanks for letting me get out of this, right?
Like, all right, we clearly don't want to win.
And at that point, do I, bro? If I'm not willing to win?
Yeah, it's like, no, we need to establish the rules of the game before we play.
Oh.
And then if we both agree on it, then we can,
and
move forward.
Yeah, that's the fact that I'm so high in neuroticism and the fact that you're so low in neuroticism, I think has done a very good natural service in the making you more privy to your emotions and making me less serious in mine.
Yeah, and in our interactions growing up, and because we were on the extremes and we didn't really have the words to articulate back and forth or the introspective ability to really reflect on how we're coming off, and yet we were still able to maintain a certain level of trust and integrity within the friendship, that just goes to show like our natural ability to resolve conflict was there.
To nearly identify with some of these, though we didn't have the words to articulate
it's just like,
them.
okay, now Mitchell is just a volatile, fucking crazy dude that can't take a loss. Like, we play Monopoly, and the loser literally puts the shit up. That is the rule, and you knew that before we played. But yet you're not gonna do that. Why the fuck are you like that? And I'm thinking this dude's a dick. He's a sore loser. Like, what the? Now I don't want to play Monopoly with you.
Bro, and think about it. You went 23 years of your life with the neuroticism. I went so long with those shitty character traits, bro. I went so long with those shitty behavioral mechanisms that I needed someone like you to check them. And it wasn't until I felt you trying to snap my arm where I, in my mind, go, it has nothing to do with him not being my friend. It has everything to do with the agreed upon rule set of the activity we're engaging in. And at that point, it's like, it'd be no different than if we were playing basketball. And I know he let's just say, isn't going to be able to do or compete in certain ways that I'm going to be able to compete in this activity. So I'm going to exploit that. And for you, when it comes to like something like grappling, it's like, clearly this motherfucker like is going to leave his limbs flailing because he doesn't understand the implications of, if I grab one of them bitches, it's getting broke. Clearly he hasn't had somebody try to break his arm. All right, now I got to teach him. And again, because of that trust that you're talking about that was almost naturally there in place, it allowed someone like me who needed that humbling to be able to get humbled without being scared off or scaring off the person doing the humbling.
Did you say you scored high in withdrawal?
86th percentile.
Yeah, so that's like going against that natural tendency or natural personality is
Right.
because you are high in withdrawal. So it only makes sense for you to avoid that situation
Right.
again and for you to not want to come back.
Bruh.
But yeah, you're going directly against how you naturally were in that realm. But
Yeah, man, because deep down, if I maintained the withdrawal, right? If I maintained what are the other ones? If I maintained
volatility.
the volatility, right? If I maintained,
You were volatile as fuck as a kid.
but man, that's why it's like,
Because it'd be it could be one thing and you would be like set off. And I'm like, bro, whoa, that's a little extreme of a reaction to this like thing that just happened. But in your head in that moment, given all the variables, it was justified. And it wasn't just you acting out. It was you like, no, I'm
It's a
doing this for
conscious
a
decision,
reason.
right.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that for a reason. Why are you doing that? Our reasons are not the same.
my reason, because I was blinded by my personality and behavior traits that were natural based off of not only the genetic predisposition, but also the nurtured aspects of those personality traits. So I needed somebody and people and experiences like my sophomore year in high school when I got jumped. Like, I need those experiences. Like when I was homeless, you need all of those experiences to finally get you to the point where, oh, when I do take a personality test, I'm not surprised by some of the results that I get, especially the ones that are the most telling.
Yeah, the ones that are kind of hard to really come to terms with. Like, damn. All right. I am like this. Okay. Ooh, let me just soak this in. Where do we move from here?
Because there's two ways I used to respond, and there's two ways I feel like people just do respond, which is, and I said it in self-sustained thinking, right? Which is, you are going to accept the newfound information for what it is as something that can actually benefit you, or you're going to, with cognitive dissonance, dismiss the newfound information because it goes against your pre-held beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say on top of that, like, which is, I don't know if you read the belief perseverance that ties in perfectly with that, is not only do they dismiss it to continue believing what they were believing.
They double down.
It makes them believe it even
Even more, right?
That's insane.
Bro, that's why when you ask me, like, do you think you've really changed all this stuff? It's like, dude, you can't delude yourself from the fact that you're an imperfect human. You can't delude yourself from the fact that these reveal certain things, especially the ones that are hard to swallow, because those are the most implicating qualities that are actually affecting your life, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. You wonder why the world treats you bad and why everybody's an asshole to you? Maybe it's because you treat people bad and you're an asshole. And taking tests like this, understanding certain traits and certain behavioral qualities about yourself.
I think that the lack of insight and introspection into how you are is one of the things that doesn't fit the quote of the ignorance is bliss. It is not bliss if you're ignorant to how you really are. It's not blissful at all. You live a very painful life. Like, you're going to be struggling a lot if you're not privy to how you operate on a fundamental level. And if you don't have those insights to then compare and contrast and reflect on how you come off and how other people are, and gaining a better understanding for where you lie on that spectrum, it's not gonna be an easy life, bro. It's not gonna be blissful at all. It's gonna be the opposite.
The bliss, I think, comes from them not being aware of it. That's where the blissful part comes in.
But I think that their lack of awareness of how they are isn't indicative of the awareness of how shitty their life actually is.
No, I think the blissfulness comes from they don't think their life is shitty.
Well, then that's on a whole nother level.
Right, but that's the dissonance of doubling down so much that the only way you can survive by not blowing your head off is telling yourself you're not a shitty person.
That's the delusion, the self-deception.
But that's the problem, bro, is because deep down, people had the humility through religious structure to tell them that they are a shitty person, that they aren't perfect, that they have to constantly try to be better.
Yeah.
But when that's gone and people are only being reassured with the delusional world of social media where they can create a false perfection and they're going to think they're perfect by their own false creation, the minute that fucking veil gets lifted and you have to see yourself in the mirror for who you are and you don't have the religious structure to put in place to give you that cushioning fall whenever you finally fall off of that high horse you've been standing on for so long, I think there's almost a survival mechanism in them that they go, I don't know if I'm strong enough to look at this truth for what it is because I don't have those systems in place. So their mind almost unconsciously protects them into deluding themselves into doubling down on the cognitive dissonance because deep down that's the only way they could actually survive in dealing with the totality of the real truth.
That's a powerful defense mechanism.
Oh, bro, but think how smart people are nowadays.
No, bro, people are geniuses. They could justify almost anything. Yeah.
And when you have not only that, but you have the luxury to chill the way we're chilling.
You have no reason, really,
to be better.
Yeah, it only makes sense to just
be complacent and to.
I like the way you finished my sentences.
My bad, bro.
No, they're good.
Oh, okay.
Because that wasn't being sarcastic.
Okay,
that was me. See, that's my lack of like trying to.
That's good.
But that was good though, because in both of those instances, I truly was like I couldn't grab the word.
Right.
And you were just like, oh yeah, it is. And I'm like, oh, that's good.
Thanks for watching that clip. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Support for self-sustained training is brought to you by the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free shipping worldwide with code SST at Manscaped.com.
Yeah, shout out to Manscaped, man. They were nice enough to send us this Performance Package 4.0, which is their luxury grooming kit. And it comes with the Lawnmower 4.0 electric trimmer, the Weed Whacker for your ear and your nose hairs, and then all your post-shave performance essentials in the deodorant and the toner. Plus, they give you an anti-chafing boxer, which is super comfortable.
Super comfortable.
And then they top off the Performance Package with a nice little travel bag so you can carry all of your grooming tools with you. And you can get 20% off and free shipping with code SST at manscaped.com.
That's 20% off using code SST at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools with the job using Manscaped.